This is a true story. It's a reminder that the greatest mysteries and dangers often lie within the human heart, not in distant galaxies. We expect monsters to look terrifying, but sometimes the most dangerous ones walk among us, disguised as friends, neighbors, or charming strangers. His name was Ted Bundy, and his story is a chilling warning. What we see on the surface can be a carefully constructed illusion. The events you're about to hear happened to real people, in towns and cities just like ours. Bundy shattered the world's perception of evil, showing that the monster isn't always at the gate. Sometimes, he's already inside. This is not just a crime story. It's a psychological study that forces us to question how well we really know those around us. Picture the Pacific Northwest in the early 1970s. Majestic, peaceful, and safe. College campuses buzzed with hope and energy, and communities felt secure. But that sense of safety was shattered when young women began to disappear, one after another in broad daylight from public places. At first, the cases seemed unrelated, but a terrifying pattern emerged. The victims were all bright, promising women, vanishing without a trace. There were no witnesses, no signs of struggle, just a growing sense of dread. Law enforcement struggled to connect the dots, hampered by a lack of communication and technology. The perpetrator exploited these gaps, moving freely and leaving families in agony. The fear was palpable. Doors locked earlier, freedoms vanished, and every stranger became a potential threat. These victims were not statistics. They were daughters, friends, and dreamers, their futures stolen in an instant. The Pacific Northwest was gripped by a new, chilling reality. Safety was an illusion, and a monster was hunting in their midst. Into this climate of fear stepped Ted Bundy. To the world, he was the opposite of a monster, handsome, articulate, and ambitious. He drove a modest car, attended law school, volunteered in politics, and worked at a crisis hotline. Bundy's background gave few clues to his darkness. He was a master at creating a convincing public persona. His greatest weapon was the mask of normalcy. He could adapt, charm, and disarm anyone. He used his intelligence and empathy as tools for manipulation, gaining trust with ease. Bundy was not a social outcast. He was integrated, with friends, a girlfriend, and a promising future. This duality, law student by day, predator by night, allowed him to operate undetected. He proved that evil can wear a handsome face and hide in plain sight. Bundy was a meticulous predator, using psychological manipulation to exploit his victims' kindness. He often feigned injury, wearing a cast or using crutches to ask young women for help, turning compassion into vulnerability. His Volkswagen Beetle, common and unthreatening, was modified to trap victims inside. Bundy also impersonated authority figures, using badges and confidence to command trust. He changed his appearance and persona constantly, leaving behind a confusing trail. As a law student, he understood police procedures and avoided leaving evidence. He followed news coverage, adapting his methods to stay ahead of investigators. For Bundy, it was a game, a contest of wits with law enforcement. His intelligence and detachment made him a uniquely dangerous predator. For years he was winning. Bundy's audacity didn't end with his crimes. He escaped custody twice. In Aspen, he jumped from a courthouse window and vanished for days. Later, he squeezed through a jail ceiling, walked out in stolen clothes, and disappeared again. His final escape led to a killing spree in Florida. In court, Bundy represented himself, turning the trial into a spectacle, charming, grandstanding, and even proposing marriage on the witness stand. The nation watched, horrified, as he manipulated the spotlight, but the evidence was overwhelming and his mask began to crumble. Bundy's crimes changed America forever. The idea that evil could look so normal shattered the nation's innocence. Parents became more protective, hitchhiking declined, and stranger danger became a household phrase. His methods forced people to question whether helping others was safe. Law enforcement evolved, creating national databases and the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit to track serial offenders. Bundy became a cultural icon of evil, fueling a fascination with true crime that persists today. His story is a cautionary tale, reminding us that trust must be earned, not assumed. The psychological scar he left is the lingering question, who can we really trust? After his second escape, Bundy fled to Florida, his violence escalating. In 1978, he attacked the Chi Omega sorority at Florida State University, killing 2 and injuring others. He abducted and murdered a 12-year-old girl, Kimberly Leach, a final shocking crime. Bundy's luck ran out when a routine traffic stop led to his arrest. His trial was a media sensation, with forensic evidence, his bite mark, sealing his fate. On July 24, 1979, Bundy was found guilty and sentenced to death. He spent a decade on death row, manipulating investigators and delaying his execution. But on January 24, 1989, justice was served. Bundy was executed, ending a reign of terror. Crowds outside the prison cheered, marking the close of a dark chapter. The monster was finally gone. Even after his capture, the question remained, why? Bundy was a pathological liar, offering shifting excuses but never true remorse. Experts labeled him a psychopath, charming, entitled, and utterly lacking empathy. His victims were objects to him, and killing was about power and control. Bundy wore the mask of sanity, mimicking normal emotions to fool everyone. In his final interviews, he spoke in the third person, detached from his crimes. Whether it was manipulation or delusion, we'll never know. Bundy remains an enigma, a hollow shell who filled his emptiness with the lives of others. Bundy's story is a lesson about the nature of evil and the danger of judging by appearances. The most dangerous people don't always look like monsters. They can be charming, successful, and trusted. In today's world of curated online personas, this lesson is more relevant than ever. Bundy's story urges us to trust our instincts, ask questions, and prioritize awareness over politeness. True safety means living with awareness, not fear. The victims, kind, trusting, and full of promise, must not be forgotten. Their legacy is a call to vigilance and community care. Bundy was a terrifying anomaly, but the vulnerabilities he exploited are universal. By understanding how darkness can disguise itself, we arm ourselves with knowledge and ensure that awareness outshines the shadows.